Roman, Roman, he's Roman, Roman, Roman.
Beware! Acknowledge it! Roman Reigns, the guy who is super bold. Roman Reigns, the guy who has all the gold. Reigning, defending, undisputed king. God mode has been achieved. Rid of the table decides when you eat. Podcasting has more than one dipship. Beep beep. That's how dipship I am. My boat goes beep beep. Most disgusting promotional tactic in 2022. Tricking people into watching Monday Night Raw for the promise of a pre-WrestleMania showing of Cody Rhodes. Please, Mr. Double E, just a crummy of Cody. Some people. Welcome to Searching4RinoaCast, the Searching4Rinoa podcast. No people.
Oh, no!
If Drew Galloway and AJ Styles can become main eventers in WWE, there may be hope for Cody Rhodes to do the same. He claimed that, quote, nobody dreams about being an executive, they dream about being a world champion, something he himself kind of put himself into. He could have Machiavellied it by going to the Reborn Ring of Honor and becoming a two-time champion, but that happened after he left AEW, so hindsight. Basically going after the golden child in Roman Reigns right now. Holy shit. That guy has held that championship through 2 WrestleManias now. He stacked Edge and Daniel Bryan last year. He's still holding that championship. Holy shit. All you had to do was turn him heel, and now you can push Roman Reigns, and people will be excited for it. The only thing I've seen was of that, and then somebody else showed me, like, congratulations, Linda McMahon, you no longer took the worst stunner in your family. Just, oh my god. Moment. Holy shit. Atomic Bunch. We'll see if Cody goes Galloway or gets the Hardy treatment of, oh, he did this thing and we don't have anything else for him now. Time will tell. Either way, someone in the IWC is going to be wrong and salt will ensue. Wow, me speculating about wrestlers. Ain't nothing changed with the name of the podcast, baby. And by the way, show love to people, not the brands they go to. That's just weird to me. AEW sexual. What even is that? Just a derogatory statement because fans actually wanted something other than the horse manure WWE's been shoveling. At least they don't insult you for buying pay-per-views. Remember that nonsense? That got the most disgusting promotional tactic. I looked that up from time to time on Wikipedia every year. It's like, who won this year? Also gonna give the devil his due, or at least Jared Carmichael his. I follow Christopher Titus on Twitter, and he reposted this 6 minutes of SNL. I don't know about the rest of it, but right here they're taking a W. They never even mentioned the word slap. That is comedy to me. Subverting expectations. It's like, will they, won't they? And then it's, We all expected SNL to take the piss, and they went a bit high road with it. Again, only seeing this, maybe they went war games with it. Strange game. The only winning move was not to play. Anyway, to the usual segments. What am I playing? I begun what I mentioned at the end of last week by starting up Kingdom Hearts, the story so far. There's some of those games I haven't even played yet. So with the 20th anniversary upon us, that time's now. Took out my copies of 358 over 2 days and recoded for this as well. Because I think those are just like cutscenes and story they tell you. So I have them on my 3DS. I'll play those when I get to them. Once Kizzy Excellent settles into his new place, he'll most likely start that up again. No way he'd miss his 20th anniversary. He's just in mid-move right now. And again, that takes like all your time and everything. Especially when he's got to do like all the planning and shit like that, damn. Yeah, it's going to take all his focus on that. Hopefully that goes well and he gets back to doing what he loves. Took a week since the announcement for the update to happen, but I re-downloaded Bloodstained Ritual of the Night again for Aurora from Child of Light to be playable. Keeping in mind that Child of Light's a game I believe I started on my own but never finished. I think that was another casualty of me committing to making Let's Plays at the time, and I just stopped. That's how long ago that game came out. Like, really? That's who you put? You had an actual, like, Shovel Knight enemy in the game, and then the armor for Miriam, you can't put him or Shantae in? Alright. I guess they couldn't work it out. Like, again, I haven't finished the game, but I think through the game, Aurora's, like, rescuing, like, oh no, this happened to you, and you be, like, don't turn me into a marketable sub-weapon for, like, characters and stuff like that. Again, it's been so long. So long. Her light spirit thing, I can spam R2 and burn through most bosses. The rest of the games I've played is for the segment after this one. Coming soon! Coming soon. Coming soon. Coming soon. Coming soon! A little more bare bones after the month of March, but that's just how it be. But in 2 short days, Chrono Cross, the Radical Dreamers Edition. I imagine to plat this, they're going to make you do multiple playthroughs, because they'll ask you to recruit all 40-some characters. 40 plus. I think it's like 45, 46. Hopefully they do what they did with FF7 and give us that ×3 speed for battles. If not, no big. You don't really have to grind too much in that game. You just kind of come along with it, so there's more of a focus on exploration and recruitment than anything else. The side story of Radical Dreamers for the first time on American shores is something in of itself that it's like, how does this all tie together? Maybe it'll make more sense with the Radical Dreamers. Maybe it'll make even less sense. Because that's how RPGs and my dinosaur brain don't really work together sometimes. I look deeper and see 2 more games in 2 more days coming in. So yeah, this is all coming out the same time, April 7th. Possibly good shmup in Eschatos, Eschatos. One of those, probably like a remake arcade shooter I know about. I don't know super much about the shmups, but it looks good. What looked really, really good is this pixel racer with a 3D track perspective in Slipstream. Sometimes you just look at a game trailer and go, oh, I gots to try you. I'm hoping there's a demo where I can just do that for free and a little bit of tracks just to get that vibe up. Like, oh shit. I'll say this now, by next week, it'll be too late by then, the podcast, but the 12th, a pixel Metroidvania game in Cathedral comes out. Looks very much like Shovel Knight, which is never a negative. That game took off and over in some cases, more DLCs than a puzzle game. So I hope Cathedral lands and kind of gets its success, but it could be a one-off. RedArtGames.com was shown at the end of the trailer. I go through that website and see some games I've recognized and played before. Most of them easy plats I scored, which segues us into The Adventures of Platinum Hunting. Pew-pew! Damn it, I missed this time. There were games called The Chicksea and the Sheep P before this. The Cow G. Just hold down R1 until you reach the number 9500 plat. Very cheap, brain dead, easy to plat. Blitzbreaker, with timely dashes and jumps you try to beat levels quickly to garner stars. They'll take you to bonus levels you can hit the R1 button to check and complete by going all the way down to select the warp option at the bottom. So yeah, a little trouble with oh, how do I get to these warp levels and all that? Just try to complete as much as you can, as fast as you can. Gotta do all this in story mode, don't bother with the arcade. Clear the first 3 worlds, get 25 stars, score 10,000 points total. Go into options and stats to see how far you are for those, and then 150 deaths. I already had plenty of deaths on the way. This took about 50 minutes to fully plat for me. Might take some people who are super skilled at these sort of things shorter. Rava and the Cyclops Curse. New little platformer where you have different shots and magic to blast through certain blocks, enemies. Using one of them to uncover hidden items and pickups. a guide is super helpful so as not to miss too much when you only need to beat the first 6 out of the 10 levels this short but challenging game provides. I say challenging unless, of course, you first go into options and switch the difficulty to kids mode. Now you have infinite lives and a super long invincibility frame should you get hit. Gonna need to find 15 hiddens, kill a number of enemies with different shots. 20 to 25 minutes it should take you. I actually played this to the end, which without the kids difficulty, I might not have made it there so quickly, because those later levels after that, the game starts ramping up. Mages and treasures. With a guide in hand, you'll know exactly where to go and what to do and plat this one in about 10 minutes. One of those cutesy top-down Ratalaika games like Milo's Quest with the pushing block puzzles and all that. This game lets you mage it up and shoot enemies from afar, so that's something a little bit different. Breakneck City, a very quick to plat beat-em-up. Only 3 of the 6 levels you'll need to beat. Kill 50 enemies, 12 kills with a weapon, 12 health item collects. Fixed camera, beat 'em up, it's 3D, oofa. You may, like me, have to play a little past level 3 because I didn't get enough health pickups to plat. I got that by the time I hit the boss of level 4. I played this through to the end as well just because I was curious to see, like, how does this game end? There's like this gang that's like an evil, like, working for this boss that's like subplotting and it's like, gonna take over all the homes in Canada and blah blah blah, and it's like, not on our watch, motherfucker. Yeah, first easy plat game that I did with like F-bombs. And finally, Trigger Witch, a Zelda-like meets a game like Enter the Gungeon. It's not twin stick, but you'll be blasting away at enemies, getting money to build up on other guns you find. Treasure chests have gems, also upgrades for your guns. Certain guns for certain things like to blast enemies or burn them, you know, your usual flamethrower shotgun. Green Z Saber done did it again with a 3-hour platinum playthrough that just lets me in on where I need to go, what I need to do. It took me a good day plus to plat this one. It's on sale now, and by far the most recommended out of all of these games I mentioned. Pick this game up, seriously. Especially when it's on sale. I think it was like, what, $7, $8, $9? It's a very, very good Zelda-like. With gun. Anyway, current tally. PSN current level. 695. Platinum hunting trophies gotten? That's what I have written here. It says, gotten? 384. I suspect me working over Kingdom Hearts, one that might add, because as I discovered, they eased up a little bit on the trophies in comparison to PS3 and PS4. Also, I'll save that for the review, but I'll save it for when I actually review the game, because that's what I'm geared towards. Gonna do what I did with the catching up with Kemco and just rank them all. They'll come out when they'll come out. It'll take me a little longer to do, but anyway, time to conclude our first campaign in the dungeon of time that exists in a fraction of time on today's Tales of Roleplay. So last episode, I cliffhanged on a big door that we found had certain combinations to open to get to our actual destination. Continuing from that, we find a few more rooms ahead, one of which is Zazim's study. So we get his journal to peer through. The girl I saved a while back turns out to be the object of Zazim's desire, which later turned over into obsession, because that's how villains do. And she's also one of the campaign's backstory of there being over 10k gods. Her being perhaps one of time. I don't think we ever got a full explanation on that. Zazim's enemy is also the weird crustacean mind Flayers. He takes from them 3 trinkets. 1 a dagger, 1 a jewel, and 1 helmet. I don't recall what the dagger does. I think the jewel is like the lenses form for the helmet, same color and make perhaps. It's a helmet that actually is enough to fit tentacles, like a mind flayer's head would. The helmet I recall, because Artificer uses that more than once during our adventures. This bad boy, when puts on, detects living brains in the vicinity of the area. One problem with the first usage? The diary also speaks of these larval state brain worms that can go in through the skin and eat your brain. So, oh goody, boar worms from Splatterhouse 3. Once again, veering away from Lotus War and into more Goblin Slayer horror movie game kind of shit. But yeah, the first usage of that helmet wakes one of these things up. A big one. Squirming up through this sewer grate. Now, maybe it was a combination of that helmet and the fact that before this, adjacent to that study was this secret passage that led to horror show Surgery, experimenting on whoever Zazim can get his mitts on, possibly some of the gnome gardeners we met before, to just study and calculate how these brain worms work and find a way to weaponize them and use them against the mind flayers and make the girl that was rescued, named Nala, his own. So, naturally, we take those tools and dump them into the sewer grate, but helmet on is where it decided to squirm up and square up against the party. This thing looks like you'll eat more than brains. My brother built this figure personally and has it proudly sit in a potted plant, so real quick I'm just going to cut over this video showcasing exactly what nightmare we're up against. Hello, beastie. Oh, that's a disgruntled teenager, all growth spurty and acneed up and shit. Paladin and myself get the close-up to it. Its mouth thing is trying to quickly eat one of us to put us in a state of grapple. Gotta take a round to get free or something like that, or kill it quick enough, so. That's the plan before it causes any significant damage and or takes away our element of surprise to maybe ambush this Zazim and murder him in his sleep. It's never that simple. So we dispatch that. Continuing on, we head further up a flight of stairs to this big circular room with a drop or pit in the middle. And above that sits this huge glacier where an actual time god is trapped in. Being a god or whatever, it's still sort of timed not in this glacier. But it's a god, so it can still, through our minds, converse with us the location of what can save the day. Put in this combination to get to a tool you will need to end this madness. Paraphrase. You'll definitely know what it is when you see it. We get to said room. It's this museum kind of place of statues, gemstones, insects on the wall. All the time in the world and no hobbies make Zazim something, except for the fact that the end of the diary is the word time written repeatedly in pen ink bleeding through some of the pages with how maddening frequent. So he's already don't mind if I do. I'm iffy on the details, but I think like Merrick, he's frustrated at his constant failures to make good on his plan to get Nala / control these mind worms to get revenge. Who, I think the mind flayers, Zazim mentions how they laugh at him, how they mock his pursuits of time. Is he getting cucked by mind flayers? Is that it? Is that the story? It's probably not, but that might... It's probably furthest from that. Oh, could you imagine? Anyway, back to this museum. The biggest item there is the armory, a new suit for Paladin, and we try on while we go for the obvious thing we want, this beautiful two-handed sword. Our looting, or attempt thereof, awakens one of the statues in this little museum. With its massive size, gets to close up on a few of us and drops us. Nearly takes out half the entire party. We gotta grab them and get the hell out of here. Only the Artificer can do any significant damage because he somehow fashioned rocket launcher before that existent obvious medieval setting of 10,000 gods. Because it's a giant statue and level 2 monk might break boards, but not a giant rock stone solid statue that can hit and break back. But we get the sword, hasty retreat. Now that ends that day's campaign, so coming back, the party decides now, with our mission to end the madness and the means to do so, let's do a quick side quest to loot even more shit, just keep away from the statue, because we learned from the previous encounter that 1, it's active when something in the room is moved. 2, it also prioritizes who has something in their possession to steal, or who's closest to the exit, something along those lines. Somebody fast enough could probably play keep away, but a person's 40 to 50 to 80 to 100 run speed might not be enough ground to cover if this statue decides, hey, it's running. Now, my character Phylon's all, let's just end this thing here and now. Me personally thinking, alright, they're thinking probably what I am. They played enough JRPGs and Castlevania games to know Zazim's gonna be a load-bearing boss, especially considering this thing exists in a fraction of a second of time. Loot now or forever hold your peace. So, side quest. Let's pull a fucking heist job. Everybody in positions to grab things and book. I say that because Artificer makes off with 3 of the biggest books in a library, clearly laid out differently from the others, so they're super important. I think it's more information on the Flayers and the Worms, like these were full 8 hours of reading, just one of these bad boys. I scored the least amount of some less than rare gemstones as Fi's pick up, like 5 to 10 GP for just one of them. Some not impressive number. So we looted, get away from the golem. In between all this, Monk has obtained 3rd level. We all attained 3rd level. Which for the Monk, one of the things is if he has like a free hand and if some kind of projectile comes at him, he can deflect missile. It's like a D10 plus dex modifier or something along those lines to get this missile out of your way, to reduce its damage to you. If you reduce it by 0, it's, it's all in the reflexes, the bottle catch, then, goodbye, Mr. Burton. You can catch and just throw it back. The other big thing for 3rd level is the monastic tradition. How varied is your monk? Do you want to go like way of the something? Couple neat things in there. I think one of them was literally just element bender. Like, oh, you're this high level, you can shoot a gout of flame or something like that. My pick was something, we had an extension, I forget what it's called, it's Tasha's Cauldron or something along those lines, like Tasha's Guide to something. But in that guide, I saw this cool picture of like this monk with, behind him had like a crescent moon behind him and like these other arms that came out. This is the beginning of the Way of the Astral Self. So 3rd level, another key point as well, but I can at will and direct at whoever I want to hit with this. Arms come out, and the summon alone is like 2d8 or 2d something force damage. So that was like the only thing that was hitting the rock thing. It's like, I misconstrued that as like, oh, these hands are not physical. I can actually hit this thing maybe. Nah, the summon is force. The hands are still... I know at some point I think the monk gets like hands that can do like diamond body or key empowered strikes. Okay, 6th level. Yeah, that might be. And another monastic tradition feature. I know at like the highest level astral can like astral projection, like leave the body together or something like that. Crazy monk shit. Which by then you're 20th level monk, you don't need food anymore. It's something like that, and you can like resist poisons and all sorts of things. I think it's pure to your body. I'm just looking over 5e. You think 2nd level starts separating the herd a little bit. 3rd level's where the real good shit happens. Oh, that's for the 2nd time we face this statue. But we grab some loot and run. Now we get to end this madness. When we spoke to the Trap Time God, it mentioned 2 combinations for the door to take. The first was the museum, like I mentioned. The second is... once you have this tool, take this combination to the source, and with the power of this sword, take it down. Now, it's a 2-hander, so our fighter gets that one to use, except in this scenario, the thing we were tasked to destroy sits in this constantly moving parts dealy. It's like a clock with many parts, so not so simple as to just walk up and bonk in the thing or whatever. One of us gotta climb into the thing and not get gobsmacked by moving parts, so... Phylon, with the best dex of the party, can get in that bitch all laser tripwire and just climbing through all that shit. Right in that mug, sword in hand, clang! Hit it hard enough to start the process of shattering this thing. Cracked so far, enough to alert Zazim himself. Initiative. Party readies up, but Zazim rolls the highest on that, so his opening move, timey-wimey teleport right next to me. As I ask if my next swing, can I go sideways and go clock and Zazim? Now, Monks aren't exactly proficient in two-handed swords. I myself not either. Could you imagine monks of the Zweihander order? We've studied the blade. Have you accepted our sensei Donovan Bone and his teachings? That we then later had to kill because he couldn't hold his shit. It's one thing to swing it at something still. Taking a sword and swinging it to an actual combat target, you take penalties for not being super proficient in the sword. I don't know what it would have been for a monk, like a -2, -4 to hit. He's probably like super timey-wimey wizard anyway, so it's like not even try. It's like, here comes swing number 2, now or never.
Top sword! Top sword!
Time sword is a sword, liberated from the villain's lair. Seriously, he just left it in a museum place thing. But it is now a
Top sword! Top sword!
dominating the countryside, dominating the weekends. I dominated this whole campaign here when I rolled a natural
Fucking 20! Natural fucking 20!
As predicted, whole castle comes undone. Time God freed. We're with it in this white void area. If you've ever played Marvel Alliance 1, where Uatu saves you, you know exactly what I mean. Time God in so many words tells us Zazim's fate. Zazim was suffering, has suffered, is suffering now. Is suffering always. Yeah, Zazim's the WWE opening crawl. His suffering is then, now, forever. Portals us back to the village after that. New timeline now. The place that hired us, that whole building, is just gone. Makes one wonder what else changed. Our museum spoils with us, including the aforementioned time sword. Fighter can pocket dimension or pull a teleport once a day or something of that nature. You know, you spend enough time with it, you get familiar and acclimate with things. At a base level trick, she can summon the sword from wherever, so Mjolnir. So we averted a time crisis. Now what? Local gangs in your area. Next week, Tales of Roleplay. Only one thing for Snackin' for Rinoa again this week. Helados Mexico, a mango nata fruit bar. Not sure what to make of this one. Not too strong nor weak mango flavor, but then spiciness happens. And by that I mean way down in the throat. It feels like you ate like just a flake of pepper. Like, you ever had that, ooh, it's too much pepper or something, you know, and that's the aftermath of that. I'm looking at you, Team Cuisine Fettuccine Alfredo. Too much pepper. Just be careful you don't suffer a brain freeze and the throat thing with the Helados Mexico Mango Nata. Looked the name up and got a bunch of recipes for it. I first thought it was an empanada with mango and spices like tajin and chamoy on top of that. No, it's a beverage, like a smoothie or something. You can also freeze in the pops like this one. The recipe I saw from a YouTuber by the name of Cooking with Kiona. Simple put together with a tamarind candy stick, which I'd also like to try. For this week's Spoken Wording for Rinoa segment, it's time for Old Idea, New Idea. Old idea. Spoken word Cody Rhodes Smoke and Mirrors theme. This is the dashing Smoke and Mirrors era too. They did a later one that not as good as this one. This one peaks. You're the one that goes, whoa, you're only smoke and mirrors. Whoa, there goes Cody Rhodes. I want to spoken word it, but there's no justice without the whoa. You're only smoke and mirrors. Whoa, you're only smoke and mirrors to me. There you go, first up in the camera. Microphone in hand. Thought it was microphone in your hand. Microphone in your hand. Could be. What you're mad about, no one knows and no one cares. You think everyone's a fan. But everybody sees the future's here in me. They watch the wheels go round. They'll tear his ego down? I thought it was they'll cheer as you go down. They'll cheer as you go down. Whoa! You're only smoking mirrors. It's of course again. Less is more. Everybody says so. Even less is way too much. What comes out of your mouth no one knows and no one cares.
Come on, Cody. Take it to the bridge.
Can't take it anymore. I've heard it all before. I'll choose to hold my nose. It's time for you to go. But you can't read the signs. I guess you can't tell time. I promise you can't stay. I'll make you go away. Whoa! Sorry, that meme's never leaving. Whoa! You're the smoking mirrors. New idea. Going on lingojam.com/Shakespearean for this. If you heard it, it's kind of stuck in your head and it's been for a while. I had this idea for the longest time to take like classic rants and stuff like that and masterpiece theater them like, over 9,000, you say? Bollocks! I was Stone Cold 2 weeks ago, now I'm Brian Blessed. What? This might as well be a classic wrestling promo, but it's more sports and more entertainment. Oh. Anyway, I'll start and you'll kind of get the idea. So I just want to use this pick here. Hey Browns! Mike Polk, Susan Ticket holdeth her. Killeth her game in Houston the present day. Well, thanketh God we have built thee. What a blessing for the community. Thou art wasting valuable space on our majestic shoreline, and what doth we receive it out of it from thee? 10 miserable games a year, and wielding 2 pre-season games, yond I has to pay for, and 1 shitty Jenny Kesney concert. Doth thee understand? Yond 'tis actually statistically harder for a team to beast this consistently lacking valor than it is for these folks to beast occasionally accidentally valorous. The probability is staggering. Didst thee befall to see if yon Packers Chargers game the present day? 'Tis like if those gents playing a different sport than thou art. And here's what thee hast to understand. We will not expecteth thee to beast valorous. We just wanted thee to beast watchable. Not thee hast any idea how based our expectations are. We expecteth not thee to winneth the Super Bowl. We just wanted thee to beholdeth better than the Division 3 high school team. And hark, I knoweth yond there art way more important things in life than football. But thou art did supposed to beest our pleasant distraction from those things. But all we doth payeth thee wage to put us in the lacking valor humour every week. Thou art a factory of dry sorrow! I'll see thee Sunday. That beeth the podcast. I'll see thee Tuesday. Playeth on Dave of Diamond.
God damn it, baby, no, I ain't lying to you. I'm only gonna tell you one time.